What's up guys, you join us for another episode of the Outback Explorer. If you're new to the channel, my name's Josh and this is our Troopy, which we are setting up for full-time touring around Australia. Today is episode 3 of the Troopy 2.0 build, where we finally get into the electrical setup. I am so excited to get into this. It's so much bigger than we've ever had before. Anyway, let's get straight into it. What we're running in the setup is a full energy system, 300 amp hours of lithium batteries set up in parallel. Some of you guys are probably asking, Josh, why aren't you running Red Arc or some of the bigger brands known in the four-wheel drive industry? Well, the simple answer to that is I'm not sponsored by anyone, so the decisions I'm making on this setup are purely mine. So I'm doing my research and buying product purely on merit, which is awesome for you guys, so you guys know that what I'm showing you is really what I think is the best. And obviously at the end of the day, the money we save on this setup is dollars in the tank, so it gets us further around Australia. Let's get into it. So we got 300 amp hours of lithium battery, a 3000 watt inverter. We got 50 amp hour DC to DC charger with solar input. Over here we got the Duetto Mark II hot water heater. Yes, we will be having hot water in this setup, which I'm so excited about. It means hot showers, hot washing of dishes. Can't wait to have that on tap, which is really cool. The reason why we're having such a big setup compared to the last setup is, yes, we are going full induction. I have bitten the bullet. I've been on the fence this entire planning process, whether we should go induction or state of gas. And up to 2 days ago, I was still on gas. I was not sold on induction, but I've decided that, you know what, I love trying new things and we're just gonna take on all the problems that come with it, and we're going full induction. So that's why we got so much battery storage as well as such a big inverter. The reason why we're going for such a big inverter is also because we want a double cooktop. We like cooking two things at the same time. Anyway, in this video, we'll install all this gear into the car, hopefully get it all wired up and working, and maybe even plumb up the hot water system, which is pretty exciting. Anyway, let's get straight into it and start getting this in the car. Alrighty guys, first up we're going to get into fitting out these boxes. If you haven't watched the last video, go watch that first, where we made these boxes for all the side panels and replaced all the originals just so we can have a bit more space. These two are going to house a lot of the electrical gear. In this one we're going to have our DC to DC charger, and in that one we're going to have our main fuse box that runs most of our lighting and fridges and stuff like that. So we're basically going to put all the stuff in here, drill all the holes that we need to for running wires, and then we'll set them in there and hopefully they'll stay in there. So let's get straight into doing that. Alrighty guys, well I've just put these panels back in. I've got most of the stuff in there that I want to have in there, but obviously I don't have all the wiring for the lights and stuff just because they're uninstalled yet. So I will be pulling them off in a little bit, but I've put them in there for now so that I can start installing some of the bigger stuff like the batteries and the hot water system, just so I can get an idea of where they're going to go. I'm going to start framing out the cabinetry that we're going to have here, just because that's going to be what a lot of the stuff bolts to. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to first start with this hot water system just because it's going to be sitting next to the wheel well over there right at the back. Alrighty guys, well finally looks like we're actually getting somewhere. So hot water heater is in a spot mounted on the little mounts that we made. Same as batteries, I made some little angle iron brackets for them with a strap over the top, so they are also mounted in their spots. As for the third battery, that's going to be sitting behind the hot water heater, but I got to wait a little bit longer. First need to start on doing all the framing work on the bottom section here before I can make the mounts for that third battery. So that's where we're going to start off now. We're going to start framing off this bottom section. Let's get into it. Alrighty guys, well this is what we're using for our rear setup in the back of the Troopy. It's ultra lightweight, super strong aluminium tubing. You can see I can even hold it with one pinky finger. This is a 6 meter length, so that's pretty impressive. To join it all together, we're using these plastic joiners. I was quite hesitant about it being plastic, but having it in my hands, it's pretty strong and the fit is extremely snug. So we're gonna give it a go. I was gonna TIG weld everything together, but this just allows us a lot easier to get everything square and straight, and also allows us to modify things quite easily down the line. Other than that, for cladding all this, we're going to use some more of that V-board and paint it. We are going for a bit of a homely feel in the Troopy, so that's going to be absolutely awesome. Trying to keep everything lightweight, that's why we've gone with this tubing. In our last setup we were quite heavy, so we're trying to save a whole lot of weight in the actual setup so we can carry more water, more fuel, and be under our GVM. Anyway, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, well last night I finished off the main bottom section of the framework. So that's going to be basically what the fridge sits on and what houses most of the electrical gear. I also put this little board over here, that's where the third battery is going to mount off. So that's pretty much ready to go in. I'm about to bolt that in. Before I bolt it in, I'm quickly going to just start wiring all of these connections over here just so that I don't have too much wiring to do when that frame's in, just making it a bit easier. So here we've got our two 20-volt outlets, we got our display screen showing us basically where our battery's at, and then we got a solar input as well as just a normal 12-volt cigarette socket. Anyway, so I'm going to get into wiring those, and then after that we'll actually put that frame in and hopefully that will stay in. I'll bolt it down. And yeah, starting to actually get somewhere now, which is pretty exciting. well, finally this frame is in its spot. It was a bit of a mess around. I'm not gonna lie, there's so much stuff in this little bit of space that trying to get it to fit and make it that everything has a bit of space to move is a big mission. But I think I've got it. I've got everything in there that needs to be in there. I've got the third battery in its spot, mounted and strapped down. So now I can finally start running some of these cables, start getting the charger wired up so that we can start charging the batteries, and also some of the other little power points and stuff can get wired up. I haven't bolted this thing down yet just because I'm still going to run a few more wires that I don't have yet. So for now I'm going to start just wiring up the batteries, get the charging going, and let's go from there. Alrighty guys, well, first thing that we're gonna fit is the shunt. So the people that don't know what a shunt is, this basically measures how many amps you're using. So it also tells this computer how many amps it's busy using, so that you can basically calculate how many amps out of your battery you've used in total. All the negatives get joined to this, so that's why I'm gonna put it in first, and then we can actually start wiring everything up, which is what we're gonna do now. Let's go. Alrighty guys, well this is the size cable we need to power the inverter. Pretty much as thick as my thumb, it's pretty crazy. And luckily enough I have a big enough crimp, you can see how massive this thing is, to be able to crimp the lugs on the end. But this is the size cable you need to be able to not have any volt drop, and also be able to get the right amount of current through to the inverter so that we can run the induction. Good morning guys, we are back working on the Troopy again today. It is absolutely beautiful day today. I've even got the solar blanket out, getting some charge. So yes, all the battery charging systems are working awesomely. So going to carry on today with the electrical. Hopefully we'll get most of the 12 volt done today. So starting off, I'm just going to finish wiring up all the accessory wires. So even though we don't have any of the lights and stuff yet, they are on their way, but I'm going to just run all the cables so that we can start closing off the fuse box, as well as starting to get into more of the 240 volt wiring. So hopefully we'll get all the 12 volt stuff done today, and maybe even start on the 240 volt, get the inverter mounted where it's supposed to be, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to run these wires all the way around the top channel here and go down to the fuse box here. One of them is for the induction and the other one is for some lighting going on this door. We're going to join into some wiring up here, which will be for the awning. I still have to drill the grommet to go outside through the roof conversion, and that will supply power to the awning lights. So yeah, see if we can run this all the way up and around. Alrighty, and then you basically feed it through. Alrighty, there we have it. guys, well I just received these lights that are going to go in the back doors here. Bought them from PDP in Perth, Perth Diesel Performance. So there they are, that's the long one, so that's going to go on that door, and there should be a short one in here as well. Ooh. There we go. Alright, chuck that away. So there we go, we've got the long one and the short one. That one's going up there, and that one's going up there. These will be our main cooking, cleaning, and basically getting into the back here lights. So they have two separate buttons, one for white light, one for orange and red light, which is pretty cool. So you don't have to go through all the different options. So yeah, that should fit there really nicely. That's why we ran these wires here. So we'll hook these up and get them installed. Here we go. Alrighty guys, well all the wiring is done, and when I say done I mean all the wires are run. It is so far from done, but I've got all the 12 volt wiring and 240 volt wiring wired to where they basically have to go, all out of the panels. It's all there. We have checked all the charging systems, and all the systems are working, but I am waiting for a few things to carry on before I can actually finally wire everything up. There's a couple of accessories I'm still waiting to arrive. As for the 240 volt, all the wires are here, but the inverter gets mounted to the frame, which now has to get finished, and all the cladding and stuff done for the cabinetry onto it before I can mount the actual inverter. So that's why the 240 volt's been put on hold. As for the hot water system, it is all wired up and working. It is not plumbed up yet. Main reason for that is because I bought a second-hand tank to go into the Troopy as the tank that supplies this and all the hot water. It's actually sitting right there on the floor. One of the Barnetti plastic tanks. Reason that's not in is because it doesn't fit with our tow bar, so that was a bit of a red light. So now I'm stuck and can't really go further with the plumbing. I'm gonna have to get a different tank. I'm thinking of going to Thorburns tank. Anyway, it sits a little bit different to how the Barnetti one sits, and it should fit with our current tow bar. So I'm gonna have to wait for that to come before I can finish plumbing this all up. So for now, we're gonna carry on. I'm gonna carry on with all the framing work that needs to go in for the cabinetry, as well as probably fit the awning and some other little accessories, because that's kind of what's holding us up mostly at the moment, is getting all of that cabinetry in. Anyways guys, this video has gone on for far too long. All the wiring's in, it's all working. I will finish off the wiring in a future video, so I'm going to end the video here. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see how this build turns out, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, and we'll catch you in the next one.